Welcome to another day, another Chaos News Hour on the stream. I don't really talk like this, Carlos. I just kind of come in hot, and Meg rolls her eyes, and that's when I know I've done too much. But we're here with Meg. We are here with the founder of Disrupt Pack, Carlos Calzadilla.
Hola, hola, hello everyone.
¿Qué te pasa, calabazas? We are here today. We are going to be touching on some of the craziest news this world has to offer. Now is the time to go live on Instagram in the top right corner.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's cool. So yeah, Meg, how you
Dude.
feeling today?
I'm feeling like, I haven't been on since Monday. It's just been like quite a week. I don't know quite why, but I'm exhausted.
Me too.
But I'm like ready for the week to be over and to reset for next week. And there's a lot of news to catch up on because I just haven't been catching up on news.
Really? I think nothing happened this week. It was a very rare week.
Dude.
Carlos, what's new in your world?
Wow, what's new in my world? That's a good question. Well, I'm in LA right now, enjoying the perfect LA weather. And I am excited to dig into all the very, very, unsurprising news of the week. I don't know if we're going to find anything. So, we'll talk about the few things that have gone on.
Yeah. What is it they say that, some decades, sometimes days, sometimes decades, nothing happens for decades, and then sometimes decades happen in days. I'm just so relieved that nothing's happened ever. Nothing's ever happened in this country. It's just
what's interesting? We're no longer using the word unprecedented.
Thank God, because I can't anymore.
Well, that's why, when
every unprecedented thing has happened, so we've run out of unprecedented.
There's no more precedent.
We're in a new realm. I think we're just in a new realm now,
we are in a new realm of capitalistic detritus. Hang on. Go ahead. You keep going. I'm gonna film a story.
I was gonna ask if Carlos wants to introduce himself and talk about Disrupt for a minute.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, hello everyone. Thank you, Megan and Steve, for having me on. This is gonna be exciting. I'm Carlos, the founder of Disrupt. Disrupt is the national counter movement to Turning Point USA. We're moving for our generation to take back the American dream that was stolen. Look at there, they're trying to steal it again. It was stolen from us by the corporate elite, and we're organizing our generation a post-partisan movement that is centered around three key pillars of restoring freedom, making life affordable, and ending corporate control. I really believe there is way more that unites us than divides us, and the oligarchs and the billionaire class have spent so many decades rigging our economic and political system and dividing us. You see these tech oligarchs, how much they profit off our division. And we believe in a movement that reaches people online, takes them offline, in person, so we can organize together and find that community, friends, community, and purpose, so that we can unleash the power of our generation to transform our political system and our society. And I think now more than ever, we are at a pivotal moment where if we do not just substantially, structurally change our politics, what's left of democracy will end. Honestly, we have these oligarchs, these tech oligarchs with AI, that they have an unprecedented amount of power and wealth, and they're extracting that. And I think that I used it. It's unprecedented. It is truly the most powerful technology. It could be used for good, but right now it's in the hands of people who just want to use it to extract wealth and have power that is unaccountable. And I think it's not enough for us to protect democracy. We actually have to create a real democracy. And that includes making sure that we do not have a political and governmental system that is for profit, that people just buy it. And I think that is something that is post-partisan. We are tired. I think our generation is tired of the party labels, is tired of the fact that, we see these corporate interests really, they give money to both parties. They are not being reined in the way they should. And also our lives are not affordable. That's why making life affordable is critical. Our generation, we did everything right. We went to school. We went to, many of us went to college. We did the internships, the grind jobs. We played by the rules. And what do we have on the other end? We're screwed. We're saddled with debt, can't afford healthcare, can't afford a house, or a family. So this is the time to disrupt the entire system.
I love that. No, that's so true. And I mean, so okay, part of the reason I've been crashing out, like this will all come back to you, but part of the reason I've been crashing out is because, with all of the progressive wins that we're seeing, we've also seen like a big backlash from the center where with like nonstop op-eds. I mean, you were just living in New York City. You would see all of the like crazy New York Post, I'm sure, everything that they're trying to say about progressives. And so with that, I think like Abdul's win was such a big deal. I mean, it was like all the New York slate was a big win, and then Abdul's win was a big win. But then when Kamala endorsed him, the further left crashed out and was like, we're not voting for him. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys, why are we so against any progress? And it's the further left who are like, they're like, we claim like Lenin and the Black Panthers and this and that. And so all week I've been like, so today I've been studying the 1,000-page Senate committee memo on COINTELPRO and how like the point of COINTELPRO had like 5 goals, and like first it was like their biggest threat was unity. So that's why Fred Hampton, when he established the Rainbow Alliance, it was with Puerto Rican organizers. What were they called? I can't remember what they're called. Then there was the Young Patriots, whose emblem was literally a Confederate flag. And then the Black Panthers.
Shout out to Uptown Illinois, Hillbilly Heaven, a.k.a.
Yeah. Those guys. And the Black Panthers some people like left. They were like, we cannot align with people who have a Confederate flag. But Fred Hampton knew like it is more important and it is better for all of us if we start working together than if we like keep ourselves apart from ideological purity. And like the same, it's just, and there are other things. They're like, don't with COINTELPRO, preventing moderate people from endorsing the Black Panthers or anti-war movements in any way, because then it legitimizes them. So like anytime somebody who is like a teacher or like a politician, whatever, they would like tarnish their reputation because it is actually better for movements when the center and the far left flank work together and treat each other as one movement. And so it's like, why are we doing COINTELPRO's job for them? Like, why are we literally doing the FBI job for them? We need to figure it the fuck out. I'm like, we are never going to get out of this if people keep crashing out about everything. It's just like, I don't know.
It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because it's literally the same playbook being perpetrated by the same
us.
Like same people. Yeah, exactly. It's like you're not even making it hard for them anymore.
There's there's a saying that the right is always looking for converts and the left is always looking for traitors. And I think we have to change that mentality if we're going to win. I mean, this has been the success of Turning Point USA. They arrived at campuses and they said, you don't have to agree with us on everything, but we'll welcome you. And they preyed upon the kind of woke one style, like constantly people would like divide each other up, even on the left, right? And if they weren't 100% aligned on certain things, they'd like break off, and they preyed on that. And that's why they built a movement that included a lot of people who are actually not that extreme. And I actually went outside the Turning Point convention last year in December to interview people. I don't believe in this style of replicating Charlie Kirk's destroying a 19-year-old college student. I think that conversation and trying to find where there's points of agreement is actually where dialogue should be, and especially building a movement. And what I found is that a lot of people were not actually aligned with Turning Point on major things. We're actually quite critical of the administration, critical of Turning Point, but they found community and they found a place where they weren't shamed. So I think that politics is about addition. It's not about subtraction, And if you want to win, you have to find ways, and you don't have to agree with them on everything. You don't have to work on with someone or a group on everything. But where you agree, I mean, that's what humans throughout history have been able to do. If you have to take down the big, have to take down like a big lion that's killing people in the tribe, you got to, you might disagree with someone, but you could get together to to defeat the lion, and then have your differences. But it's not going to really matter. Your differences.
First, you gotta identify the threat, and then you have to take it down, and you have to do it
Yeah,
as a team.
I mean, there's
And
no
once
point in arguing about your differences when you're in the belly of the lion. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter if you're on which side of the spectrum you were on. You're both, you're both dead. So
you're both in the belly of the beast. That's a good way of putting it. Like,
yeah.
I always think about. I don't know if have you all ever seen the show Andor?
Oh, I love Andor. I'm the biggest Andor fan. Me and Charles McBride.
Yeah, no, I love. Because I went on Jessica Burbank's podcast.
Yes,
about
Jessica. Yes.
She's cool as hell. And,
Me too. I went on
Can you
her
get
show
closer
too.
to your mic, Steve? Can you get closer to your
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Jesus, I hate this thing. Carlos, every time you switch out of the
I see.
StreamYard app, you're blacking out. Just so you know.
Gotcha. Okay, great. I don't want to black out yet. It's Friday, but here it's still 12:30.
Yeah. No, but I love Andor because they have like such a real ass like conception of what like rebellions are like, because there's like obviously it's a violent rebellion. We're talking about peaceful, nonviolent, revolutionary optimism, but there's like such a real like understanding of the fact that when you get into like factionalism and like sectionalism and like civil disagreement within an organization, it totally undermines the integrity of the value system that you're trying to create, which is inherently cooperative and non-zero sum. So when people start behaving like I always try and look at it from like it's more about when it becomes stuff like that, it more becomes about ego, and that's when things begin to unravel. And it's kind of a bummer because we're starting to see it now with like the Kamala endorsement is, I'm not saying Kamala's a good person. I'm not saying that, but I voted for her because I knew that she was the lesser of two evils, which, like that sucks. It sucks that there's a Democratic Party where we've been forced to make the decision of lesser than two evils. But like, instead of getting angry about Abdul accepting the endorsement, why aren't people getting angry that the Democratic National Committee is trying to ban ranked choice voting? Like, why can't we how do we, if you don't like Kamala, then like, why aren't you putting all of your energy into shaming Ken Martin for getting rid of RCV, like trying to get rid of ranked choice
even
voting?
Beyond that, the only reason that an endorsement like that carries so much weight is because all of the money, the tens of millions of dollars that was targeting Black and Jewish communities, to turn them away from Abdul. And so now to rebuild trust, it's going to take endorsements from people that those communities do trust.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't like that, then we need to go build relationships and trust in those communities to undermine the power or the influence of an endorsement of someone we don't like. Otherwise, we got to shut up and stop complaining.
And at the end of the day, Abdul won the Democratic primary, right?
Mhm.
And that means, and that carries with it the ballot of being the Democratic nominee, which is huge because that's the way to win currently. Obviously not the ideal system. I think we should have a different system. I think we should not have this winner takes all. We should have a multi-party system. But what that comes with is you have to win, or else this primary win doesn't really matter if we don't win in the general. He's not a senator currently. I mean, look at Zohran Mamdani in New York City. Him and Brad Lander, they did the 1 and 2, which was critical. It was critical for him to win the primary, and it was critical for the general election. I think people need to remember that the general election for New York City mayor was closer than most people think. Zohran won with a bit over 50%. Cuomo got around 40%. And it was very, very critical, the endorsements and the coalition building that Zohran did in the general, because had a few things gone differently, it might have been a different story. But credit to Zohran and his team, who were very strategic. They realized that there was an insane amount of Islamophobia. There was an insane amount of money being pumped. You had Trump, Musk, and Stephen Miller endorsing Cuomo, which is, first of all, hilarious that they hated this guy. And talk about coalition. See, the other side, they'll do any coalition to defeat
Yeah.
progress. Are we not going to do any coalition? You know, when it calls for it, you don't have to do coalition everywhere all the time, right? You know, because there's real points of disagreement. But when there is points of agreement, which is, you know, Mike Rogers is a truly dangerous individual, truly dangerous, and you know, it is essential to win the Senate. Also, it gives an incredible amount of power and influence to progressives and to, you know, leftists and to everyone, and honestly, just to anyone who is against AIPAC for him to win. I mean, the AIPAC forces are going to go all in. The fact that, you know, we had, you know, Kamala did that endorsement, it's not that it's out of kindness of her heart. You know, she wants to run for president, obviously. Again, it just shows where the party is going. It is going in an anti-corporate way, and these people are, you know, the party has to, you know, we always say, you know, they always tell us vote blue no matter who. And now's our time to say that, you know, to people, okay, vote Abdul no matter who, you know, and we have to take it, and without compromising. I don't see Abdul compromising on every value, right?
Why
Without
would he after
compromising.
he came up against 80-70 million dollars and stayed very, like, he could have compromised to get the money, like I'm just like, especially people who weren't following the race really closely, I'm just like, as long as he doesn't compromise, yeah, it's
Exactly.
we need,
Okay, fine.
like, what is it, we need endorsements. I'm sorry, like, that doesn't mean we're endorsing her. It just means, like, what, like, I don't understand what people expect. You know, it's like, we organize against ICE, we organize, and like, it, no matter what happens, I'll get into the ranked choice voting after this point, but no matter how much success we get in, like, organizing against ICE, they're still fucking rogue and doing whatever they want. It feels very, very hopeless right now. And unfortunately, because we are so fractured and we haven't not gotten to the point where we can out organize our government, we need people in legislation to actually make our organizing efforts work. Like, we have to be willing to work with politicians right now because we just don't have the organization on the ground. And so the people who are like complaining about what we're doing in Gaza, and I'm like, what? We've been, people on the ground have been organizing to have somebody speak on their behalf for Palestine, for ICE, for corporate, for so many issues, and now you're gonna like opt out because of purity politics? Like, what? This
Yeah,
is not
what are
gonna
you
get
talking?
better. It's insane. And I'm like, people are dying now. People are in ICE detention centers now. People are like being bombed in Gaza now. They don't have time to wait for the most perfect like thing to happen. I don't. It's so frustrating.
I don't have the actual statistics on this, but I want to give a shout out to Kapow and Kat and Our Common Power, because this is somebody who was, you know, AIPAC threw everything they had at her. She was the first one through the door, and she's like, okay, fine. I am going to make an organization that's committed to helping people gain real political power. And so not only are they doing the mutual aid thing, but, you know, they knocked doors with Common Power in Michigan and Grand Rapids they knocked thousands of doors. And that was like the precinct that won helped him get him over the edge. And like, it's a good example for everybody to follow, which is like, okay, like, I lost. What am I going to do to help the next person win? And if anybody's like, well, it's not my guy, I don't 100% agree with him, or like he's getting help from other people, it's like, then you know what? This isn't about him, and it's not about the people helping him. It's about you. And we can't afford a me situation right now. This is a we situation. We need all hands on deck. Like, if you're a good faith actor and you're against what's happening with the administration and you're against money in politics, then, or at least you say you are right now, and you're helping people that are sincerely against it, then like, fine, I'll take it, even if you're using it cynically like Kamala, because we know she's, like, to your point, Carlos, she is just going to be running for president in 28. I mean, Smooth Bandit, I'm going to let Meg take over to talk about the ranked choice voting ban because she knows more about it.
Yes.
I'll be right back. I got to take care of something. I'll be right back.
Okay.
5 minutes.
So tomorrow, the DNC is voting to ban ranked choice voting from the presidential primaries, which is just so undemocratic. So if your state already has passed ranked choice voting, and that's how it'll override that for the presidential primaries. And I don't know why they're saying it's because it's going to be too hard to figure out how to like make delegates count or whatever. But they did this for the last election too. Like they already made it work in the last election. Why can't you just make it work now? The thing that's so frustrating is ranked choice voting is like the most democratic way to go about voting because you don't have to worry about splitting votes. I mean, like your example with Mamdani and Brad Lander, being like, hey, we're both on the same team. Whichever one of us are 1 and 2, just keep Cuomo out. I mean, there are so many primaries that would be way less toxic if people weren't like, that progressive is the, what are they called? The spoiler vote. And it's like, no, they could just be like, hey, we're all on the same. And it makes politics less ugly and toxic.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
then people have to be like, I don't want to alienate the people. Like, I want to be higher up on their ballot. So I have to be kinder to everybody here. Or we can team up and be like, okay, we're all against that guy or whatever. But no, it's really, it's crazy that they're so. I put a link in the chat so you can email both Ken Martin and then it'll automatically go to your local chair to tell them they cannot vote to ban ranked choice voting. It's so undemocratic. I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like you guys like losing, like the DNC is a mess, dude. A mess.
And what's first of all, ranked choice voting is as close as we can get to kind of like a parliamentary style system where people can there's more representation on the will of people. Also, it's interesting, like it doesn't necessarily benefit the left or the center or whatnot. It literally just benefits democracy, and to your point is that it encourages collaboration and encourages a real debate about ideas. And not about egos and I mean there's always going to be ego, but it reduces that, right? And Brad Lander talked about this in New York very well after the primary, how people are so tired of the cynicism of politics that people it is just people hating each other and attacking each other and tearing people down. Yet in his endorsement with Zoran in his 1 and 2, it showed people a different kind of politics, a politics where people can actually collaborate on the values and on the ideas they have. And ranked choice voting encourages that structurally, right? And you can absolutely see that you have a different tone. The tone in the general election for New York City mayoral election was very different than the tone of the primary for a reason, right? It was more about ideas. It was more about actually addressing people's concerns. And then obviously when it was the general, it was, basically 3 candidates, no ranked choice voting. It was a fight to the death. And, it was horrible seeing, how Cuomo and Cuomo's team just threw, I mean, they were, joking his team and his allies and not joking about 9/11 and Zoran. It was disgusting. And it was, when you have ranked choice voting, which I think it should be implemented everywhere, you don't, like you said, you get the best candidate that represents most people. That's just a reality.
Yeah.
And I think that it's very misguided. I hope that they don't vote to ban ranked choice voting in the Democratic primaries, because we'll have the problem is a lot of people are going to, here's the reality, a lot of people are going to run for president in 2028. So many people, right? And that's great. That's democracy. The problem is that when so many people run and you don't have ranked choice voting, then someone who holds a very minority position, might actually win, not because they have support, because they have a slight plurality. And that's what happened in the New York 10th Congressional District in 2022 in New York, when Dan Goldman was able to, beat a bunch of progressives. They all split the vote. And that was not the case in 2020, this year. So, I think that it is healthy for democracy. It's healthy for the Democratic Party to, whoever the nominee is, be someone that is broadly supported by the majority of the electorate, instead of a plurality, which is the danger that we run into. So I think that more democracy should be the answer, not less.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, especially just thinking, these primaries get so ugly. Primaries get so ugly, and the internet gets so toxic. And it's just like a way to keep like help us learn how to unite, help us learn how to strategize, like anything. And this is just a way to be like, we don't care. And to your point, like it really more people can be represented if ranked choice, like it should be the standard for everything. I don't understand what the DNC is doing. Like I don't know. Okay, other news items. Luigi Mangione pled guilty today. Did you hear about that?
I heard about that. I saw this morning. I was a little surprised, but then after reading into it, and I guess it made a little more sense why him and his team would do that. But yeah, big news.
After like years and years and years. Hey, what's up,
Yeah.
regular person? Okay, what else is going on? Trump appeals to the Supreme Court to allow ballroom construction to continue. What is
I mean,
it with him and this ballroom?
This is the most important issue, really. I mean, I think we need to talk about it because, I mean, we have all paid basically with our taxpayer dollars for the ballroom that we'll never be able to be in it. But I think it's still very important. It's going to be very beautiful for us to see a ballroom that we can never enter. And I'm pretty sure this is what the founding fathers really wanted on the 250th anniversary is for the president and his friends and his rich buddies to have a beautiful ballroom. So I think that, this is the most important issue of our time for Trump. It's not the war in Iran. It's not the genocide happening in Gaza. It's not the fact that you can't afford your groceries. I think the answer is to him. I think what Trump is telling the American people is let them dance, but he's not even letting us dance. He's only letting his friends dance. I think that was a phrase similar to that was said maybe some hundreds of years ago in France. I don't know. I wonder how that ended up.
Yeah.
How did that end up?
Let him eat macaroons.
Let them eat
I
cake.
think.
Let him eat macaroons in the ballroom.
Also, my
No,
secret
really
theory,
though.
my secret theory is that if Donald Trump was able to be like a host of House Hunters or like RuPaul's Drag Race,
To be pretty,
he would have been a happier. He would have been a happier man, and we wouldn't.
and
have
the
these
world would be
problems.
happier too. Yeah, we'd get
Yeah.
the humor without the disastrous killings of people all around the country and the world. But I think that this is what people should keep in mind. What we're up against. We're up against someone who has absolutely no care about the actual issues. And that's the thing about the elite world, is that they probably care more about this than they care about what's happening to working people. The billionaire class, they would love a nice ballroom that they can lobby Trump at. Think about it this way,
Yeah, that's actually a good
Yeah.
point. The more real estate, the more places that they can go to parties, the happier that guy is, the more they get.
The more they
What's
talk
up,
to him.
Chance? Thanks for sending that email, Chicago Bish. I had to eat lunch real quick. I was getting a little hungry. So Caroline Leavitt quit her job. Why did that happen? Does anybody know?
I mean, I think it has totally nothing to do with the fact that Trump was, willing to let her
Abandoned
get
her?
blown up in a plane.
Yep.
I've actually kind of trying to imagine the interaction of the Secret Service agent and Trump, right, when they were trying to convince him to get into the food cart. And leave the Qatari plane for Air Force One. The agent was probably like, this is critical. Like Iran, can blow up the plane. You need to get in. And he's probably like, excuse me, there's not enough gold, and the Air Force One is for peasants. And then they just had to tell him, Mr. President, if you do this, you will be called the James Bond president for a daring escape. And as a bonus, the journalists and your staffers might get blown up. And he's like, count me in, I'm doing it.
You got a
That
pretty
was a
good Trump,
impression.
actually.
That was
That's a good impression. So I was just looking at this story. I've been like kind of a news lately. I've been I'm obviously very political, but I've been laying
Political?
low. Yeah, I'm a little political.
You're a little-
So
just a tiny
basically,
bit.
there was a plot. Tell me the story, Carlos.
The story so basically, yeah, what happened was that, well, now we're getting to know more news about it. but apparently it's come out the Israeli intelligence told the U.S. intelligence that there was a credible threat on Trump's plane when they were leaving the NATO summit in Turkey, and then
The one gifted to him by Qatar, which was a whole thing,
yeah,
right?
bribed with, I mean, gifted,
Yeah.
gifted by the Qataris, which is not as safe as Air Force One. But, you know, understandably, Air Force One is not as luxurious, does not have as much gold, and is not as
It's not
beautiful.
$40 billion. Is
No,
that
it's not.
$40 billion?
The Qataris, which, you know, yeah, have had an amazing relationship really with supposedly, you know, where it's funny, we're against terrorism as a country, but then we're best friends with Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and we take their plane. But
Wait, are you telling me that? Are you telling? Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, no, they're definitely. Yep,
Yeah.
that's it. I forgot about that one thing. Yeah, that was definitely. Yeah, that was definitely one of those countries that furnished
Yeah.
most of the pilots.
But this is, and in Qatar, I mean, they it's interesting. The United States, you know, we're supporting Israel and what the horrible things that they're doing in Gaza. But you know, Qatar also hosts Hamas, so it makes no sense that there's absolutely makes no sense the way that we conduct foreign policy. But
Oh,
anyways,
that's right. That's where BB dropped off all the money.
yeah.
For
Oh, yeah.
Hamas.
We also
he went
forget
there and.
that Netanyahu gave Qatar so much money to give to Hamas. I mean, how's that not, you know, anti-Semitic? Giving the supposedly the most, you know, the terrorist organization money for was over $40 million illegally in cash that they
For
then
weapons,
used.
right?
For
They used it
weapons,
for
yeah.
weapons. Yeah, because Netanyahu wanted Hamas to be stronger than the Palestinian Authority, so he keeps the Palestinians divided. Well, anyways, we hope he loses in November or October. In October, we hope he loses in October. But anyways, so what happened was that the Secret Service, you know, Trump pretended to go into the Qatari gifted plane, and then they had him exit through a catering cart. You know, which
Wow.
is, yeah, so that's why, and then he only took a few people with him, one of them his like human printer, Natalie Karp, which there are rumors, I don't know, you know, people are saying, I'm not saying, we don't know, that apparently there's some sort of affair there, who knows. I'm sure Melania knows better, but you know, what happened was that Marco Rubio was allowed to get into the plane that apparently had the threat. Caroline Levitt, the journalists, and then what do you know? Less than 48 hours after this story breaks, Caroline Levitt leaves to spend time with her family, and you know, she just had her second child and realized. Now she realized, guys. Now
that
she
she-
realized that Donald Trump might not care about her or anyone that works for him.
Or
So I'm
anybody
sure that
other
was
than
shocking
Donald
news.
Trump. That's,
Yeah, so she probably realized that she has two kids and Donald Trump is willing to let her die. And maybe that got her thinking that maybe this is not the line of work that she wants to continue in.
Yeah, I
and
think
that
she's
just shows.
probably gonna find some very interesting ways to neglect them.
Oh, well, and to grift. I mean, that's going to be the next thing, the magical
Well, have
grift.
you seen her weird ass video of her? She's like,
We love
trying
you,
to be
Chance.
sultry. Let me find this video. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me find it. You guys talk while I find this weird ass Caroline Levitt video.
She's,
But in honor of her time in public service, I think we should remember, you know, all the beautiful lies she did on behalf of Trump.
oh
all
yeah,
the time
those are some of the greatest press conferences where she was so bad at. Caroline Levitt is. I spent a lot of time on the East Coast over the last few years, and she reminds me of like every like wine mom I ever met, who's just like constantly pretending like everything is perfect in their lives, but in reality, just like they know that their kids are a fucking mess, and like, you know, that, you know, because rich people, they can't pay anybody to grieve for them or feel emotional, like, so they know deep down inside things are fucked up. And like Caroline Levitt, you could tell, like, she knew, but it was just, she was such a bad actress at, like, for the American people, she probably deserved an Oscar, but they're only watching like Love Island and like the Home and Garden Network. So,
Yeah.
dude, it's so it's so funny to see. You know, they always say it, man. My mom always used to tell us kids, like, if they do it with you, they'll do it to you. And that's what
Exactly.
happened to Caroline Levitt. She realized that she too was expendable.
They're all expendable. And when will people learn that Donald Trump does not care about them? But you know what? Even if they knew it, even if they either deep down or know it, I think, and she probably knew it before this. It's just that she realized it, like many others, is that they all love a lot of these people. They just want the proximity to power, and this is the whole thing about the Epstein files. This is why so many people who knew what Epstein was doing, who you would think are respectable people in society until now, they turned a blind eye because they rather be in the social circle. They rather have the connection to power and money and willing to sell their soul. And none of these people, there will be a reckoning. We know that just following orders does not hold up in
No,
court
it
and
does not.
international court. There needs to be a reckoning and consequences for everyone when we take back power. And when I mean we the people, and not the elites that are currently in charge in 29. There needs to be a Nuremberg 2.0. There's no other way around it. We cannot heal. Look what happened. Look what happened after the Civil War in America. We didn't do that. And
Yep.
look what
And
we
we're
have.
still fighting the same. We're still
Fighting the
battle.
same. No, traitors and those who blatantly violated human rights laws, U.S. laws, international laws. They all have to face justice. Every single ICE agent who has committed these crimes, all the way to Stephen Miller, to Trump, they all need to stand trial. And every single individual that participated and enabled Epstein also needs to face trial. I think the Nuremberg 2.0 is necessary for our country to heal.
And when the AI crypto bubble does in fact burst,
Yes.
like, bankers need to be held accountable the way that, I don't know why Obama bailed out the banks. It was certainly like early on in his presidency and was kind of like proof positive of like what was more to come. But yeah, no, if we ever get another shot at holding these greedy scum accountable, then they need to be held accountable too. I mean, obviously, it's degrees of severity, but like unencumbered greed and not paying your taxes, that's a form of political violence, because downstream that hurts people. That hurts people in very serious ways. And that's why I agree. I think that more trials the better,
Yeah,
Let's-
and it's justice. It's just justice. When a kid was found with some marijuana 5-10 years ago, they faced unjust trials. There's a whole generation of kids and young people that went to jail for nonviolent drug offenses, yet these people have committed violent offenses, have violated the most sacred laws. It's just justice. We're not asking.
Yeah, we're not
anything
asking for
crazy.
anything more or anything less.
It's just basic justice that has been. See, it's the type of legal consequences that working people have been facing forever. Why can't the elites face the same consequences?
Yeah.
So I think that's important in order for the country to heal. And in
Yeah.
order to not just heal, we need justice, and we need this to stop happening. See, Brazil, they did it right. See, they actually arrested the president that tried to overthrow their government. Bolsonaro's in jail because he tried to overthrow the government, committed many crimes. And the reason that they did that is because they know what a dictatorship is like. There was a dictatorship in Brazil from the 70s and
years.
80s for a long time. They know. And I think that in America, we think that democracy will just always exist. And our democracy is very, very flawed right now, so we need to make it better. But also, if none of these people are held accountable, we're going to have another coup, maybe a worse one. And
Yeah, I think we're gonna have
even
a worse one if we don't stop the. Yeah, it's just like it's that old adage, like, if you have a store and somebody that works for you is stealing, and you catch them and they say, "This is my first time, like, please forgive me." It's like, what was you gotta fire them if they're stealing, because it's not the first time they stole, it's the first time they got caught. I mean, I don't think I would fire him. I would definitely not call the police. But the point of the story isn't about theft. It's about the fact that when people show you who they really are, it's not like, and we have ample evidence to see that these elites, like, they don't give a shit about anybody except don't be so mean to the poor
Right.
elites. Is that Duncan? I love Duncan. He's my fave.
I mean, these elites, they struggle every day with loss of meaning in their life and purpose. So they
Yeah.
really they
That's
suffer a
real.
lot. You know, they have so much wealth. They don't know what to do with it. So they want to go to another planet because they don't want to be with us, the peasants. I was walking around the beach here in LA, and I was looking around. I'm like, I don't want to go to another planet. Look, this is the most beautiful planet. I saw the NASA footage of Mars, which is cool. We got the best footage. It's cool that we saw the footage. Not somewhere I want to live. But you know what? If Elon Musk wants to go there and he wants to live there, like, I really
He
support
should.
that.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
We'll
But not with
we
our
just-
fucking tax dollars.
Yeah,
as
not with
he's
our
currently
money.
doing.
Not with our money. And once you're in Mars, you can't spend in our elections. That's a rule. If you're a Martian, you cannot spend in our
You
elections.
can't spend in the elections. Oh, Smooth Bandit, good question. Will impeachment be a priority after midterms? It has to be, right? This is my theory on impeachment. Can I go first? Because
Go first.
imagine how much poverty inconveniences them. Ruins the visuals and everything.
It's
Yeah,
not
no,
like
it's true,
because of
Duncan
them or
Crossberry.
anything.
I'm just like an unpaid extra in the movie of Elon Musk's life. I think impeachment is tricky because we've seen that when the president gets impeached, from a political standpoint, it's actually kind of a hollow weapon if you have a highly divided Senate. So my instinct is obviously, like, emotionally, I want this guy to suffer, and I think it's better to let him finish his term and then throw the book at him with, like, a federal trial. Like, because I think impeachment is so much of, like, a show at this point, namely because like, the Republicans made it a huge show during the Clinton thing. So, like, the first thing you always think of in the modern era is, like, Trump impeachment. And then, like, didn't they do that to Clinton for essaying his intern? But, like, it's my move, I would say, is I would work to try and I would go from the bottom up. I would start with people, like, that are weak on his flank, like his sons. Like, I would start doing congressional testimony. I would just start doing hearings every single day. Like,
Yeah,
I
just,
would
like,
make
working through the corruption of it, and like, because
Yeah.
I think what's hard with impeachment is at this point the right loves making him a martyr. I think he should be impeached, but the most unserious members are always the ones bringing forth articles like Thanander, who is like literally
Yeah.
so unserious.
Who also
Um,
screwed up the articles, by the way. Shout out to Donovan McKinney for shellacking him up and down the state of Michigan. Good
You
shit,
are too
man.
far away from your microphone. But I think I think this is like a good question though. Like, if impeachment is if they have the count for it, like, they can do that. I also feel like what people don't think about is, like, we are up against so many things, and our members of Congress have so many different priorities and bills and asks and this, and they have to focus on where they can actually, like, move things that are like ICE or like Haran and God. Like, there's so many other things that it's like, if we don't even have that much, I don't know. I think it's tricky. I guess we'll see how it plays out. Let's just get that majority first.
I'm really pissed off because they've basically just rubber stamped Trump's appointees. Like, they've done none of the things that Mitch McConnell proved can be done with the minority position. Like, I mean, even Tommy Tuberville, like, was able to stall the entire group appointment of Biden's generals. Like, Tommy
Yeah.
Tuberville has the IQ of a light bulb stuck in a potato the wrong way. Like, he's an idiot. He's an idiot. He's the dullest knife in the drawer, hands down. So if that guy can figure out a way to gum up the works, then there is, like, zero excuse why people who are, like, Harvard-educated dweebs can't do it. It's just they're choosing not to. We had Sean from Demand Progress on, who's doing a lot of work right now trying to limit the scope of surveillance and FISA. And he was telling us that, like, a lot of times he'll be talking to staffers, even good staffers for Congress and senators, and, like, he'll just be like, yeah, if I don't get a yes, like if they're like that's pretty much a no. Like, like they're never gonna tell anybody no. And I feel like anytime they don't do something to stop them, that's pretty much like yeah, we're not gonna do that. Like, like they can say whatever they want to, but like until they actually start stopping these assholes, then like
Mm-hmm.
they have no currency with respect to what they can do for my
Yeah.
neighbors, which is what I'm concerned about.
On the impeachment question and just oversight, I personally am open to anything on the table that will be effective, and we'll know that more. Our goal should be to make sure we win and take the power away from the Republican Party in November. But I think everything's on the table, quite frankly, and everything should be on the table because these people would not for a second. The other side, when I mean the other side, is these extremists. They're really vanilla ISIS, really. I mean, they are. They're.
They are vanilla ice.
That's
good. That's good. Did you come up with that?
No, I didn't come up with that, but I will keep saying it.
That's good. That's good. Good artist borrow, great artist steal.
I mean, here's the thing about why they're vanilla ISIS and vanilla Taliban really is that you see them say, "Oh, look what happens in Afghanistan," and they are taking away women's rights. You see these extreme right, pro-Trump people in the administration and elites and thought leaders, if they have a thought, they can't lead. They're like, and they're using that. They use it against Zoran, Abdul. Oh, Sharia law. They pretend to care about women's rights, but then you look at what they want, and a lot of these people want to take away women's rights to vote. They want to take away women's reproductive freedom. So they literally have basically the same agenda as the Taliban, while railing against the Taliban.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's just like, why are we talking about to me? I'm just like, when are we going to talk about things that we are not just like a boogeyman in a closet? Can we talk about the cost of groceries and like what we can do about it? We can, the manufacturing of enemies, and the people fall for it. That's what I'm just like, like we're just like,
it's just outrage porn. The whole thing is just outrage.
Yeah,
porn.
people,
it's like
people,
what?
Because people are angry. Listen, people are angry because they can't afford things. They're upset, and then you have these algorithms, and you have our feed. Let's be honest. No one is immune, and none of us on this stream is immune. That if we get constantly emotional, videos that just enrage us constantly, none of us are immune to it. That's the reality, and no, humans are just this technology. Humans have not, we were not created to understand what's real threat and what's not, because at a very basic biological level as humans, we're trying to survive in a world where things could kill us, right? So these people, they prey on that, and you have this for profit. I mean, they're making so much money. People who are making this outrage and this anger, they're profiting. They're grifters, and social media pays them. They give them money to manufacture this outrage. So I think that we should. That's why we need to get people offline. That is my big thesis, and why I'm building what I'm building with Disrupt is to launch chapters that would really disrupt communities. The goal is every city, town, and campus in America, because that third space, people were not as radical, and when I mean radical, we're not as extreme, because the radical is actually the wrong word to use.
Yeah.
They were not as polarized.
Yeah.
And it was because you met at the bowling league. They had the church,
exactly.
the bowling league, and that's all. The death of all that has given rise.
Well, that's what the right has. They have church, and then
They
church
have
has
church.
a lot of community stuff with it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how do we make a church for the left that doesn't turn into a cult? Like, we just have to
Yeah,
create like
yeah.
regular community.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, that's kind of why I like to go to coffee shops or even like, I'm not saying like go just like make your third space just all about drinking, but like even bars are like a huge place where people can just go and hang out. And like, my friends and I in college used to say like, which is really toxic, but go to Kapow. That's right, Vampy Kato. What's up?
I do have to jump off soon to check on my kid and
No,
do
you're
mom
good. Me and
things.
Carlos can rip and run.
Okay,
We'll
then
react
I'll
to
just
some
jump
news.
now.
Yeah.
But
We'll
it
react
was
to more
great to
news.
see you all. I'll,
Great
to
I'll
see you,
put you on in the
Megan.
background so I can hear your
Oh,
reaction.
thank you,
Okay.
Meg. You're the best.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being
All
a
right,
good
bye,
friend.
Thank you,
Carlos.
Meg.
We'll talk soon.
Bye, Meg. Talk soon.
Bye, friends.
Oh, what's up, Vampicato? I cured my social media addiction by replacing it with alcoholism. Tots recommended it. Attending protests is the only time I don't feel crazy. Hey, everybody, don't forget, while we're kind of in a transition here, if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you should definitely be boycotting Amazon. But if you're not, you actually have a gifted subscription to that you can gift or use for a Twitch channel. So if you like our work, we are always looking for supporters. We're just starting out. This is my full-time job now, believe it or not. This is how I'm trying to keep a roof over my head. Luckily,
He's very funny.
luckily I am
Steve
very
is
funny.
very funny, so it's working out.
Don't do my boy Jeff like that, man. What did he do to you? But yeah, so if you guys want to support us, we would definitely be appreciative. If you're on Instagram, the best
Yes,
way you can
support.
support us. This stuff is never going to be paywalled. We're actually working with one of our friends in the chat to build our Discord back. I had it for Democrat Consultant. We're actually going to be doing some interesting work with some of our friends to be continued on that. But yeah, we're building it's not a company or a brand or anything lame like that. It's just going to be like a third space on the internet where our friends and I hang out. Yeah, obviously like Mag and me and our friend Arius, who's our creative director, who's inshallah going to be fostering my cats because that's a whole other story. But yeah, I mean, we got a real community, even though it's an online community. Like we hang out in real life. We help each other with our projects and our initiatives. So if you want to be a part of that, coalition building, that's right, Vampicato. You guys know what to do. But yeah, it'll never be paywalled, and we obviously know that everybody's broke and struggling. But yeah, you can support independent media. That would be cool. Carlos, I have been I've been pretty like divorced from the news, so I kind of just want to do some ripping and running on.
Let's do it.
On
Let's-
X and see what we got cooking.
I refuse to call it X. I call it Twitter. I always call it Twitter.
I usually
won't
call
let-
it Twitter too.
I won't let Elon Musk, change it. I won't let him. I won't let him in my mind. I won't let him on Neuralink either. So I literally won't let him into my mind because he wants to live rent free, literally, into people's brains.
Oh my god, dude, this is such fucking. I don't even want to get into this. I love Oliver Larkin though. He's
You had
amazing.
He's
this
a
viral
great
moment on
guy.
Fox News where one of the hosts tried to corner you on so-called immigrant crime, and you said, "quote
If we're going to talk about children being raped, then we need to hold this pedophile president Donald Trump accountable and all those that have been implicated by the Epstein files.
Why do you think other Democrats don't talk or attack Trump in this way? You're the first person I've seen say something like this on live TV."
Yeah, and honestly, that was surprising to me. I didn't know that no one else had really said this on live TV before I did because it's just obvious. Like, there's never been someone with more public evidence of being a pedophile, of being a sexual predator.
Right.
Like Donald Trump, the Access Hollywood tape, the E. Jean Carroll defamation lawsuit that he's currently paying out damages for after he was found civilly liable by a jury of his peers for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll. I mean, this is someone who the mountain of evidence of him associating with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I think that
He wrote a letter about the secrets they share. Like, come
yeah,
on.
I mean that just like bone chilling, absolutely bone chilling
Yeah,
evidence. I don't know why other Democrats don't do it. Donald Trump hasn't filed a defamation lawsuit against me. Like he doesn't want that discovery.
Right.
You know, I think like being willing to challenge and, you know, put ourselves on the line a little bit. I think that's what people want to see from public officials, not just playing it safe, but like I'm willing to put my own career and reputation on the line because, you know, this is not right, this is unjust, and we need to call it out. So I think that's probably why it resonated a little bit. It wasn't the clip I was expecting to come out of that interview, but they can only push us so far.
I love Hi Two. You all should follow them. They're great.
Yeah.
We've hung out with them a lot of times in real life. I'm gonna send you their X account.
They're fun. They're
put it
fun guys. They're really good.
They're great guys. They're great guys. True blue Michiganders. Shout out. I think we're gonna get them on the. I think we're gonna get them on stream soon.
Oh, that's fun.
They're the goats. Okay, so we got Oliver Larkin, who's going to be running against Jared Moskowitz. I've interviewed him. His team's great. It's really funny to see everybody shit the bed every time that there's a poll that comes out about Mike Rogers and Abdul El Sayed. Like,
It's so far away from the election, and the polls don't even like really matter as much. Let's be honest. Like, polls have been so off this year. Abdul's own poll was off. The poll could be off another way. For the primary, the polls have been consistently off. I think people just need to focus on the work, right? Which is talking to voters and standing on principles and what you believe in. And we should stop freaking out about polls, because at the end of the day, the only poll that matters is on election day.
yes, exactly. That's what pisses me off, dude. Even like on election day in Michigan, there were a lot of people being like, "What do you think's going to happen?" And I was like, "I don't know. We're going to find out in 24 hours." But I've spent enough time gambling to know that like you don't really know what's going to happen until it's over, which is like the hard part about life. And like polls, I think, are kind of like a mechanism by which, for people that like really think, I think there's like two types of people. I think there have you ever heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Yeah.
So for our audience, the Dunning-Kruger effect is basically saying that like when you first start learning something, yeah, polls are bad for turnout. Smooth Brad, you're absolutely right about that. I'm gonna put the comments back up here because it's not gonna be in anybody's face.
Let's
Is
look at
that
the
you'll
comments.
eventually win? Haven't won yet, but I know I will soon. Yeah, Duncan Crossberry just nailed gambling. What I've learned from gambling is that you'll eventually win. Haven't won yet, but I know I will soon. That was like my mantra when I gambled. But like the Dunning-Kruger effect is essentially this cognitive bias that says that like when I first start doing something and I get like results in kind of in accordance with like that beginner like rush that you feel, like
Yeah.
you basically have like a false perception of mastery. So like it's basically like saying like a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. It's like that quantified. So as I've spent more and more time like doing political satire and thus like getting closer and closer and learning more and more about politics, like I've learned how little I actually know. So after I think I've been to 4 election night parties in my entire life, like at the place where the candidates are, like watching the results, and with their team, and like there's always a whole bunch of people, and they're actually really fun. If you ever get involved in a campaign, going to an election night party is like
It's
the
very
best way
fun.
to celebrate your like the hard work you've been doing. And like I've never gotten paid by a campaign. I strictly volunteer to help candidates that I like. But because if they ever step out of line, they know I'll hit them right back, and I'll be especially angry because I helped them out. But no, it's all love. But it's a cool thing to see come together. But the whole point of the Dunning-Kruger thing is that like a lot of times the people on the campaigns are always like, I don't know, and then there's like a lot of people who are like not on the campaigns who will be like, oh well, this poll says this and this poll says that, and like a lot of people on CNN, and it's because really what they're doing is like they have the Dunning-Kruger effect, first of all, because they were right about something, and then they went viral, and then like now they're like the quote unquote dem influencer,
James Carville.
Yeah, James, and then you have like James Carville, who's basically capitalizing on this understanding that we are in a moment in this history where we're on the knife's edge. We can go either forward or backwards, and we're just like standing on the tip, as they were told in the Fellowship of the Ring in Lothlorien Forest. So he's kind of like capitalized on his understanding of how to communicate these complicated polls and all this bullshit. And it makes people feel better because it makes them feel like they're in control and they can predict the future. There's this theory of existence. I forgot who came up with it, but it's basically the understanding is that people's main objective, like when it comes to how they behave, is to mitigate surprise. So I don't know what it's called. If our editor makes a short of this video, he can Google it. Chris, don't hate me. But there is there is this like preternatural need for human beings to mitigate the amount of uncertainty they have in their lives. And so when you're trying to predict behavior, they tend to move towards certainty. So, and you see this like all the time. Like you see polling, you see prediction markets, you see like weather. Like there are whole entire industries like built around trying to predict, to try and give human beings a sense of control over the uncertain outcomes. No Country for Old Men. Yeah, seriously. But it is a country. Yeah, but the old men are fighting back in this country. Smooth Bandit. Thanks for joining us again, by the way, Smooth Bandit. So I find it interesting with politics, especially given those two theories, the Dunning-Kruger effect, where I meet these people who are like me, basically casual observers. Hey, Megan Toohey! Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey.
Free energy principle. Is that what it's called, Duncan? So I think it's very funny that they have all these like little cottage industries that make people feel better about the future. And like the biggest one is politics. Like doing a poll is so like, can you talk about polling, Carlos? Isn't it like a whole fucking industry that's expensive?
Well, I mean, the thing about polling is that, you can really make a poll say what you want to say depending on the crosstabs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like literally really good polling companies and agencies, they just gotten very good at predicting what the electorate is going to be, from like age group to racial demographic to political demographic. It's all based on a prediction, right? And so they poll, obviously they can't poll everyone, so they'll poll like 400, 500 people, and they literally try to engineer the demographics so that it fits the model that they believe will turn out, right? Now, I wouldn't say polling is completely an industry that is just based on, a hunch or whatever. There is a science to it. I would say polls are like snapshots, Polls help in terms of giving you a snapshot. Like, if there's a poll and someone's at like 5% and someone's at like 80%, maybe it's not exactly 580, but it is probably in the general sense that in that moment, one candidate has a lot of support and one candidate maybe is not well known and does not have support, right? So like polls are a snapshot. The problem with polling is that it is a snapshot. Literally every single day, new things come out, new things happen in the world that completely make irrelevant the poll that happened, a week ago, right? Like President Trump's approval rating is an aggregation of lots and lots of polls, and you get a pretty good snapshot, right? And the fact is that you don't need polling to know, but polling does confirm that Donald Trump is unpopular. Now, when you have tight polls, like there's no guarantee of, prediction of who's going to win. And at the end of the day, it is still based on the model of what that polling agency does. A lot of candidates do their own internal polling, and obviously they don't tweak the polling number. They just tweak the crosstabs and the demographic to what they think is going to be the turnout. And obviously they think that their voters are going to turn out more. So that's why you see internal polls of candidates are better than maybe a poll that is a neutral poll. And it's not necessarily because they're tweaking the polling number. They're saying we're polling at this. No, it's because the crosstabs. It's all in the crosstabs, right? For example, if you think that your campaign is
Can you tell people, let me just tell people what a crosstab is, because I agree with you. So basically, if you look at a poll, and I brought up Real Clear Polling. That's what I use. But if you look at a poll, this is not a good example. But a crosstab is basically a breakdown of the demographics within a poll. So basically, in statistics, there's this principle of like statistical significance, which suggests that if you're trying to get an idea of how 50 million people are going to behave, you can't poll 50 million people, but you can poll 5,000 people, which is a statistically significant sample size, which means that if you poll this amount of people, you will likely get an outcome consistent with how they'll behave, even though you've only asked 5,000 of them a question. And then polling, basically, you've got this number of statistically significant people. So then they design polls. Like what Carlos said is they design polls that basically takes that 50 million people and says, like, okay, we have 10% of those people are Asian American Pacific Islanders. So we're gonna ask 10% of the people to be AAPI when they respond to these results, and then we know we're gonna have 20% of the electorate is gonna be people ages 18 through 45. So like each of those different like breakdowns within the group. And Carlos, correct me if I'm wrong here. This is purely from a statistics standpoint, because I was an economics major in college. Holla! University of Illinois, didn't go to a single class. Thank you for all those essays you didn't change the question to, Professor Bear. Otherwise, I would not have gotten a degree because I skipped all my classes. But, yeah, so those crosstabs are basically the groups of people that they put into different polls. And, like, one of the reasons why we saw people like Hillary Clinton in 2016 underperform is because the models that were building those polls were built on models from 2008, and there was a very, very, very high amount of non-college educated white men, which is a crosstab, that were underrepresented in the polling. So when Carlos is talking about crosstabs, he's talking about the different groups of people that need to be represented in a polling group in order to get a more accurate result.
Yeah, and an example is that let's say that you're running an election. You've got in a primary, you're progressive. You're working for a progressive campaign going up against a more centrist campaign. You think because of the way other elections have gone, that instead of 10% of the electorate will be young people 18 to 34, you think it's going to be 15%. So in your polling, right, you poll more people that are 18 to 34. So that's going to skew your polling number at the end of the day. But let's say for some reason 15% of young people don't show up and it's only 8%. You underperform amongst young people. Then on election day, there's going to be a discrepancy, and that kind of explains it. But also, you can have a perfect model that predicts the exact turnout of each demographic or very close to it, but some event happens, Something happens from when the poll was made to election day. So much can happen. Maybe a major environmental catastrophe happens in the district, and one candidate is able to seize on a message that hits with the electorate and on an emotional, level. So, this is basically how you see polling either help predict. I think polling generally gives you a good realm. And what ends up happening within that realm, that's, depending on factors not completely in control of anyone. But it's good to kind of understand this, the standing, right, of how things are looking in that moment.
If only to understand that no one actually has any fucking idea. Because it's all basically just like, I like your idea of like a snapshot. It really is just like a picture.
It's a snapshot of the moment. That's what it is. That's what polls are. So,
and they're always retroactive. What do you think about I do read the news sometimes. I saw this interesting thing in Perfect Union. Shout out to our friends over there. It's using its loyalty program to collect. McDonald's is using a loyalty program to track your preferences, psychological trends, attitudes, intelligence, and more. This guy, Reese Rogers, did an interesting thing, and I actually want to do this on stream for a couple different companies I know have my data. But this guy, Reese Rogers, he requested a 515-page report with immense amount of data. So it's like personal information, algorithmic predictions of his next purchases. Info of the company apparently is on every loyalty program member. California residents have the legal right to access the data. Company stores in Roger use that law to obtain 515 pages.
Oh my God. That's a lot of Big Macs.
Dude, he was 0% likely to stop spending at McDonald's. Then they estimated he was 0% likely not to stop spending at McDonald's. So This is what drives me fucking nuts about like when people are like, "Oh, well,
It's just a way of spying on you.
yeah, no, look, see, they're offering him fewer discounts because it inferred from data that it had on him that he was more willing to tolerate paying full price." So,
That's
one thing I
crazy.
find very interesting is that anytime I, like, for instance, I'm done with, like, streaming now because I'm moving out of my apartment, and I just don't, like, I don't really care. But, like, I can just pirate it on my phone and then AirPlay it on my TV. But, the thing that that actually reminds me, I have to tell somebody that I'm taking the TV. The basically the if you like unsubscribe from like Disney Plus or something like that, Disney Plus will say, "Will you stay for 3 months?"
Yeah.
At
And give
like
you a
one
very cheap.
It'll give
Yeah.
you a very cheap price. This is what I'm always telling people. This is like Steve's life hacks corner. If you're ever getting like ripped off by like your internet company or something like that, like tell the person that you're not paying. Just say, "I'm gonna leave. I'm done." And then you usually get a bunch of junk mail with like competitors saying like, "Oh, this is your introductory price for like 5G internet." So like that company knows, like your internet company knows that you're constantly being offered cheaper internet. So you just tell your internet company, you don't switch. You just tell your internet company to do better, and then they'll give you a
Well,
cheaper
but that's
price.
also part of like dynamic pricing, which is such a horrible thing. For people who don't know dynamic pricing, that's when like basically like airline companies and hotel and basically ticket price ticket companies for events, they because they have out an algorithm, they know how much to charge, so they will charge people. Uber's trying to use this too. They try to give you the price that is higher based on what you
Need.
basically need, and they know because they have that data, so they will give people different price offers depending on what their algorithm says, which is so disgusting. It is such a complete violation. I think it's good discrimination. We need,
No,
we
it
need to
is.
pass,
Well,
we need to
here's
pass
a-
a law against, like, and they know that, let's say someone has a sick family member and they know through their search histories or whatever they need to travel, they will jack up their prices. I mean, that's what the dynamic pricing would do.
That's why the best thing that you can do is yeah, like God forbid, like you don't have a sick family member, but if for instance you got to get to a concert that you bought, that's why it's always good to use a web browser like Brave or DuckDuckGo, because you can delete your history and your cookies every time you use it. It's a privacy setting that it's like an anonymous web browser that's specifically designed not to weaponize your cookies. But
I'm done with these cookies. It's the most annoying thing, even just having to constantly reject them. But
yeah, no,
it's just
you
so
can, and
annoying.
you can use a VPN, which also helps. You can do all of those things, which usually is good. But the thing you do is, if you have to be somewhere doing something, first of all, if you can, talk about it on Signal or an encrypted messaging app. I use Signal. A lot of people use Signal. Second of all is, like, if you're going to get the tickets, and this is kind of an interesting thing to do on an iPhone, like if you get DuckDuckGo or you get Brave, and then you have to be somewhere to buy a ticket, check on Safari, and then check on DuckDuckGo, and usually the price difference is like a couple $100.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, cronies have definitely ruined capitalism. It's not capitalism; it's just a casino at this point. But yeah,
casino.
like when I was like booking flights, obviously there's always been like cheap flight tricks, like never go in on a Friday, never leave on a Sunday because you're gonna pay more. Like if you can if you can get to somewhere on a Monday and leave on like a Thursday, you're gonna have the cheapest flights possible. But there's like now with dynamic pricing, you have to take like an extra couple steps, and honestly, it's easier and it's just like good habit forming. You know what I mean? Like it's so like there's so much stuff in the world that's like the world is basically just trying to constantly fuck you over. Like that's I look at our phones like a slot machine, and it's like, and that's part of the reason why we're doing this stream, right? Is because like I'd rather have like 10 people who have been watching us, and thank you so much for watching and supporting. And
Yeah,
if you
thank
share the
you,
stream
everyone.
with one friend, that would mean the world to us. Because you know, Carlos and I, we're friends on camera, we're friends in real life. Him and me and Meg, we've been on all sorts of adventures, and we're building a community. So help us build it, because you're the community. But I'd rather have 7 people willing to watch me for 8 hours than 7 million people willing to watch me for 8 minutes, 8 seconds on my
8
feed.
seconds.
Because it's like, basically all I'm doing is I'm just feeding the algorithm junk so that its AI models can steal from me. Like Twitch is doing it now. It's training its AI on streams, but like, so it's like, it's all bad, but like there's lesser evils. And if you can, this is why I think Disrupt is such a good idea, is because you're using the pre-existing infrastructure with all of its limitations to build an actual infrastructure in real life, which is the only one that matters. So
The only one that matters. It's how you insulate yourself, how we can insulate ourselves from the even more deepening impact of these algorithms and AIs stranglehold on not just our technology, but also our mind. And there's going to be, these few oligarchs that control all our media and all our tech. They're going to start using the superpower of AI with the existing algorithms to feed us misinformation, more misinformation, disinformation, and to hide the truth. So the way to insulate ourselves from that is in-person community. Nothing will beat that. That is the way to insulate and protect ourselves from this corrosive this corrosive system that is trying to take away our humanity. That's how we keep our humanity, is in-person connection. Nothing will beat that.
yeah, that's the other thing I'm doing too, is I'm starting to buy physical art again. Like at first I was like, oh, I'll just get a Kindle.
You're not
Then-
going to get any more NFTs? That's so
No,
sad.
I'm done with NFTs.
What happened to your NFT collection?
I sold them for a bunch of domains at a loss. I spent $1 million on a Bored Ape, and now it's worth $12. So
That's so sad.
kinda
Now you're
screwed.
now you're the Bored Ape.
yeah, I'm the Bored Ape. Actually, I have this theory on artificial intelligence. I call it the celebrity market contrarian indicator. Hang on, let me pull up this interview real quick. So there's like all of these celebrities that are hawking AI, and I kind of like went off on this. Jeff Bridges AI. Let's see here. I hope it doesn't bring up an image of Jeff Bridges. That would really piss me off. Here we go.
All the guys in Nashville are using it now. Instead of going into the studio and paying $10,000, they can do this for nothing.
Art is being devalued daily by generative AI like Suno, which is trained on millions of artists' music without consent. It is a sign of the time, sure, but it's very disconcerting to see. And by the way, spending $10,000 on a good demo isn't even necessary. You just need better money management skills.
Are you hip to Suno?
So are you hip to Suno? That is how. So there's this like movement of celebrities that are basically shilling for AI companies now. There's like this whole ass like cottage industry of like Reese Witherspoon, Demi Moore. Yeah, the dude abides with generative AI. What a fucking hack. And like, so I have this theory because of what happened with crypto. And shout out to hopefully future friend of the show, Ben McKenzie, who made the documentary Everybody Is Lying to You for Money. I actually met him at the Lander party. He's really cool. We're both
getting here-
economics.
I'm
We're
getting
both
here on
economics. What's that?
I'm just the Instagram chat on mine. People, fuck Suno. People are with it. What's up?
Good.
What's up, Samurai? Sup?
Tell him to follow us
What's up,
on
bro?
Twitch.
Yeah, follow us on Twitch. We'll give the Twitch. What's the
Yeah, the
Twitch?
Twitch is Twitch.tv /
People are saying you need to fix your mic. I don't know if that's maybe you're a little too close this time. No, maybe you're just too close.
All right, what about now?
A little too far.
This is so hard. What about now?
I think it's good now. It's good now.
Dude, it's so hard with this mic. It's so
Suno is Luno. Yeah, that's very loony. They're stealing. They're trying to steal our humanity. That's what these tech oligarchs want to do. I
Well, here's the
believe.
good news, though. This is what gives me hope because right in 2021, 2022, they made this commercial, crypto.
History is filled with almosts.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
And commit
This was
mortals.
from Crypto.com.
Just like you and me.
And then
Intrepid since the
Bitcoin
time of the
crashed
Romans.
right after that. And there were all those like celebrity crypto shilling. So it's like anytime celebrities have to, I just dropped the link in our chat and keep me updated on my mic.
People are asking about where the stream. Oh, where is that? The stream. What's it called? It's
Twitch.tv / Party Crashers. We're also on YouTube. I'll send you the link tree, Carlos. Here. We're getting our website up today, so there we go. Just send them to my link tree. It has all the different places we stream because we don't monitor the chats on Instagram and we don't go live on TikTok at all because it's basically just CBS on the internet. Like, good luck finding my videos on TikTok anymore.
The suppression on TikTok is crazy.
Yeah, thanks so much, Cory Booker, for saving us from the Chinese. Too bad that you turned us over to Larry Ellison.
Larry Ellison.
His bad Botox. So yeah, no, my celebrity crypto contrarian indicators. Anytime celebrities start hawking for something like AI, that's when you know the top is in. So because crypto made a huge crash.
Yeah.
Right after, and NFTs did too. Right after celebrities started buying them, because it's a pyramid scheme, right? So like, you need to get, in order for a pyramid scheme to work, you need to continue to get people at the bottom of the pyramid. So, the easiest way to get people to invest in a pyramid scheme is to get retail investors to do it. And what I mean by retail is like people like you and me, like give us Robinhood, right, or Crypto.com. So in order for us to get like retail investors involved in all these like fads of technology that these idiot oligarchs come up with, you need to get like people like Matt Damon, which no judgment, he's like a pretty cool like left-leaning dude, I think, and I think probably in 2021, 2022, like he probably thought crypto was a way of getting away from centralized financial institutions. He
I think there was
also got a fat bag.
Exactly, but both can be true.
But yeah. Typically, if you're trying to get like retail investors in the door, I think that's usually a pretty good indication that like this is not financial advice, by the way. This is just me knowing how.
Well, Steve does have an economics degree, so it could be financial advice. No,
economics isn't finance, though. It's a soft science. It's a study of human behavior.
Well, in the internet these days, the Maha people, they have no degree in nutrition, but they're in charge literally of our nutrition and our food system.
Oh, dude, that's
the guy who tried to eat the bear that he probably killed and left in Central Park is now in charge of what we eat.
Didn't they kill the bear and then take it to Peter Luger's in Brooklyn?
Okay, so here's the story. So I have a crazy story about our RFK actually. So I've testified in court. I was a key witness in the case against Robert F. Kennedy Jr. In 2024 due to ballot fraud.
Really?
Yeah, because his campaign was engaging in fraudulent practices to get signatures, and one of the canvassers happened to approach me at a subway station. I didn't know it was his campaign. And he tried to get me to sign, and basically I asked, well, who's this candidate? And he's like, oh, it's just someone running for president. I'm like, okay, cool, but who is it? And he told me Kevin J. Madonna. He didn't tell me the name. And I was like, well, that's weird. I would know someone running for president that could have the money, for a petitioning drive. That's a very expensive thing to do. So I said, because this was during the general election, and it was in 2024. So I was like, yeah, I'm supporting the Democratic nominee. He's like, but I said, listen, go democracy. I support democracy. I'm not going to sign it because I can't sign it. But I appreciate, you being involved. But then, I couldn't get the thought out of my mind. Like, this is really weird. So we both got into the subway car and this was in Park Slope in Brooklyn. And I Googled this Kevin J. Madonna. Nothing came up about running for president. But then when I scrolled, he was like a law partner or connected to RFK Jr. And I was like, wait a second. Could this kid, let me check. So I go up to him in the subway car and I said, hey, who did you say this was for again? It's like, oh, Kevin J. Madonna. It's like, are you sure it's not for RFK Jr.? And he's like, no, it's not. It's Kevin J. Madonna. And his clipboard for the signatures, it was covered. He had folded it so you couldn't see the candidate. So I literally grabbed the clipboard, and I'm like, let me see. I grabbed the clipboard and I open it, and in fact, it is for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for president. And if he would have told me that up front, I wouldn't have been that upset. I'm like, it's democracy. I would support, that he is engaging in the democratic process. But the fact that he lied, it's fraud, it's illegal, and it's literally disgusting. So I got upset and I said, hey, it's like, you lied to me. He's like, yeah, it's fucked up. I'm like, no, yes, it's fucked up. It is. And then I told him, why did you lie to me? And he said, they told me to lie.
What?
Yeah. So I was actually on my way to play for a soccer game that I was playing in. Because I'm still a soccer player. Not to the level that I played as a teenager in Europe, but I played for an amateur team. And I was upset, so I just tweeted out the interaction and I went to my soccer game, forgot about it, and then the tweet blew up, and I get reporters in my DMs, and then the National Democratic Party called me, and then the New York Times called the office that I worked at for a state senator at the time.
Oh my
And I
God.
became they did an affidavit, and I became well, they asked me to do an affidavit. It's like, would you be willing to just literally say what happened? I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm very upset. This is fraud. Apparently, this had been happening. The New York Times contacted me because they've been doing this, and they've been doing it in Park Slope, Brooklyn. Which, if anyone knows, Park Slope, Brooklyn, is where basically so many people who either work at the New York Times, worked for the Obama or Clinton administration. It is like a liberal, progressive, highly educated neighborhood, and they were doing this practice there. So but mine was the most clear-cut case of fraud. So I fill out the affidavit. This is in like April, May of 2024. Fast forward to a week before the Democratic Party convention, which I was a delegate for the convention, and I'm at. You know where I'm at? I'm at Target buying an air fryer, a red air fryer, and I had it in one hand, and I get like my phone starts buzzing the intercom, and it's this Russian lady saying that she has. It's like, I have a court document for Carlos, and I was like,
What?
this like Russian, this Russian lady had a court, called my intercom, and said she had a court document for me. And I was like, what is it? Like, what court document? And this was right after Eric Adams was indicted. Huh?
Yeah. Oh, this was right
So-
after Adams was indicted?
Yeah. So I was like very, kind of like just, worried about everything. We were a week away from the convention. And she's like, you're being subpoenaed. That's what she said. And I was like, subpoenaed for what? And that was a terrible couple hours. A friend of mine, funny enough, her birthday was the next day. She ran into me at Target right as I was so white. I mean, it was crazy. My face, literally, she said, "What happened to you?" My face became so, I looked like a real white Cuban. I'm Cuban American. I look like a very white Cuban.
That's hilarious. dude.
And she's like, what happened? Like, I'm being subpoenaed. And I was very, very worried about this subpoena. I didn't know what it was for. And then I get home, and it's like taped to my door is a subpoena to appear in the case against RFK Jr. And I'm like, all right, well, I wish someone would have given me a heads up.
Oh,
And basically I tested, and it was at the first day of the convention. So in Chicago, on the first day of the convention, with Trump Tower as my view of my hotel
that's
room,
wild.
I testified against RFK Jr. And no one prepared me for cross-examination. Can you believe this? No one prepared me. So I was
What
cross-examined.
district was it in? Was it was it the Southern District
This-
of Manhattan, or was
No,
it in Brooklyn?
This was in, I believe, in Manhattan, because that's where they filed it.
Was it federal or state?
State. It was state court.
Okay.
It was on the ballot for New York. So, anyways, I get cross-examined. They're like, well, they're like, are you aware that, that they, basically the firm, the consulting firm was doing stuff for the Republicans and Democrats. I'm like, it's New York, sure. And, they were not nice. The guys were not nice. I mean, I know they're not supposed to be nice, but I was not prepared to be cross-examined. I just told the truth because I'm very honest. I said the truth.
That's
And yeah, and I mean, what I tell
probably
people.
weren't ready for that strategy though. If they worked.
No, it was a crazy strategy they weren't ready for. What's interesting is that I tell people I testified against RFK Jr., but it was not about the brain worm or the bear in Central Park.
Yeah,
I have to preface that. And so it's funny is that he ended up getting kicked off the ballot anyways for both that and that he didn't have a proper residency in New York, and then he dropped out anyways. But anyways, that's
That's
my
a crazy
RFK
story though. It's
and
good
then
you
the
said
next
something.
day, I run into Jack Schlossberg at the Florida convention. I'm like, hey, Jack, I testified against your cousin, RFK Jr. And he's like, I'm so proud of you. Great job.
That's cool.
So it was a funny, kind of crazy story. But months later, like many months later, maybe a year later, actually with a friend, went to the site of where the bear was left. And
Oh, really?
and
Did you
drank
pay
to
your
it.
respects?
We paid our respects. We drank wine to the bear because the story is that he allegedly was coming down from upstate and a woman in front of him, which I don't believe. I think he killed the bear, but he says that a woman in front of him hit a baby bear, and he grabbed it, him and his friends, and put it in the back of the car to eat it later. And he was gonna freeze. He was gonna freeze it in his fridge. This guy, Maha, he was the Maha guy before Maha. Yeah. So,
Weirdo.
but then he realized that he had to go to Peter Luger for a dinner, and the bear would go bad in his car. He didn't realize that. So he decided to stage the bear being hit by a bike by dropping off the dead bear body, baby bear. I mean, could have been little bear. I just think
Maurice Sandak's little bear. I love that bear.
he would have eaten little bear. RFK Jr. would have eaten little bear. Yeah, it's really sad. I had a little bear. I had a little bear teddy bear, and it's very sad thinking of RFK just eating him. He would.
He would do it. He was a sociopath.
He would. And the Berenstain Bears, that show? He would have eaten those bears. If instead of Goldilocks, it was him, he would have killed all the bears, the whole family of bears. He wouldn't have eaten the porridge, actually. He would have thrown the porridge out.
He would have come in with a that's
He
a
would
really
have
good bit.
he would have come in with a bike and run them over. So basically, he left his bike on top of the bear to stage because he needed to get rid of the bear carcass in Central Park. So this was a big story in 2014. We were like, who killed this bear in Central? There's no bears in Central Park. So that's the story of RFK Jr. There's also another story where a whale was beached in California, and he with a saw cut the head off this huge whale. And in the family car, it was a family trip. He with ropes roped it to the roof of the car, and his kids. The smell was so putrid they were crying, and he put plastic bags over their heads, which is the number one rule of plastic bags. You don't put them in children's heads so that they wouldn't smell, and they were crying. It's really and it's apparently it's illegal what he did too. I mean, almost everything he did is illegal. There's also a picture of him taking a bite out of a dog, by the way, and it was some country he traveled in, and the dog is it's a cooked dog. It's really terrible.
What a bastard.
Yeah. You never Google someone in my Instagram said never Google RFK Jr. and whale, raccoon, worm, snake, and bear. No, that's his breakfast. That's his how on TikTok and Instagram you see this is what Eric Holland eats for breakfast, or this is what a soccer player eats for their breakfast. We should make that's a good one. That's a good
That's
video.
yeah,
actually.
Breakfast of Champions.
is-
Smooth Bandit said Olivia Newsy rode in that van when she fell in love with him. Deep cut Olivia Newsy joke.
Oh,
Smooth
deep cut.
Bandit, you're like my new favorite community member. Chicago Bish, you'll always be my favorite because you were our first community member. Yeah, Smooth Bandit comes in with heat on these funny jokes. Olivia Newsy was the Politico reporter that she cheated on her fiance with RFK.
Yeah.
And then she wrote a really weird book about it that no one read because it was pretty clear that she also had a lot of like
Problems.
issues. Yeah, a lot of problems. I think it's actually about happy hour, real happy hour time for me. So I'm gonna go and take care of business. Carlos,
to go too.
I'm gonna cut up some small clips of our little endeavor, and we'll get those back to you. And then Carlos is gonna be our weekly guest every Friday this time. Disrupt Party Crashers. We're gonna do some funny shit. Today we were just kind of riffing, but we'll have more details about what's next. Carlos, you have fun though? Are you excited?
I had so much fun. This is amazing. We're building a community here. Thank you for having me, Steve. I think, and Megan. Shout out to Megan. She's said she's cleaning the house, and we've helped her by continuing the riffing. But this has been very fun. Stay tuned to as we take down these corporate elites. We take down their roadmap of how they want to control us and take away our humanity, but we won't let them. And we will do it while being funny and humorous, because without joy, then we've lost already. So
Dang, that's
thank
why
you.
I always hang out with people that are smarter and more articulate than me. Come back to the stream on.
Well, Steve, you're a great thought partner. I can tell you that.
Oh, thank you, my friend. I need all the
Yeah.
partners I can get these days. All right, we'll see y'all
All
on
right.
the next one.
Peace.